Welcome to another episode of Through the Chair, a one-on-one conversation with committee chairpersons that makes up the 35th Legislature committee structure. Joining us today is no other than Senator Diane T. Capehart, who is the committee chair of the Committee on Rules and Judiciary. Welcome, Senator. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. So, first of all, how does it feel to be back as a legislature?
It feels great. I just have to say thank you again to the people of St. Croix for giving me a second chance to serve. When I served in the 30th, I served as the chairperson for Government Services and Housing. So this committee that I have agreed to take, which is Rules and Judiciary, is far different from the committee I once had in the 30th.
I could only imagine. So tell me, first off, what are some of that makes up the Rules and Judiciary? What are some of the rules that you have to deal with?
Well, the first thing is, I like people to know when they say, oh, you in Rules? Yeah. Rules is a very powerful committee, and this is where all the bills come through the legislature. As we know it as the clearinghouse, all the bills. Not only just the bills coming through in amendments, resolutions, also, I like to call it like the interviewing committee for the boards, commissions, and also commissioners that their names are sent down, nominated by the governor. So it's a pretty interesting committee for me, as being a former vice chair in the 30th of Rules. So I'm somewhat familiar, but being the chair now is like you have to take on that full responsibility of knowing everything, not just coming to the committee, you already reviewed your package of nominees, commissioners, whatever, so it's a different feel.
So who are some of the members of your committee?
So let me see if I can do this without your the prompt. So my vice chair, who is the Honorable Senator Potter, who was the chair, so I'm so happy that he's taken on that responsibility of being my vice chair. I have Senator Gittins, I have Senator Bolkes, Senator Maurice James, I have Senator Franklin Johnson, and Senator Collard Joseph. Did I get all of them?
Yeah, I think you did. I think you did. And Senator Gittins was also a former chair of Rules, if I remember serving right.
That is correct. That is correct.
So, what are some of the responsibilities? I know you mentioned nominees, and the governor sent out nominees. So, he sent out a nominee, and you get the last bite of the apple before you get to session, as far as the bills are concerned. So, what about the nominees now?
So, for the nominees, the governor who appoints these individuals or nominate these individuals to potentially serve in these positions, which is for boards and commissions. What happens is the governor would send that individual's name to the president, which is our president, who is Novelle Francis, and that information is then sent to my office. And that's where the whole process begins, where I would send a package to those individuals asking all about your background, your credentials, what you've been doing in the community, just telling us all about yourself. For me, I've been giving those individuals that respect where I call them and ask them to even come into my office if they have never served on that board or commission, to just say, hey, let's talk about this first before we get into the legislature. Is there anything that I need to know before you get there? Because I won't want things to be coming out into the public that you really don't want anyone to know, and to really ask, this is your responsibility serving on this board or commission. Do you understand your fiduciary responsibility serving on this board? Because I've seen in the past where individuals actually accept serving on a board and have never served on a board before.
Right.
Some individuals I have seen never even took the time to read the bylaws of that board or commission.
Right.
So for me, as the chairperson, I've had my office retrieving all these bylaws of the boards and commissions so I can be familiarized with it also.
Right.
So when you come before me in rules, then I would understand, well, John Doe, do you know that you are responsible for ABC 1, 2, 3?
Right.
You know, to have a better understanding of this committee is very important to me.
All right, so when you get to the meeting, it'll just be a smoother, because you know you still
process.
there's other things that will come out in the meetings
yes.
and what's not. And
Yes.
also, so you have your first meeting coming up. What can we expect to get out of this meeting?
So this meeting, I have to even say that this meeting was postponed because I only had one candidate and I didn't want to have a committee meeting just to vet one person,
Right.
which is for the Casino Commission.
Okay.
But since then, we are having an upcoming meeting next week in the St. Croix Chambers for Casino Commission, and you should also be expecting some resolutions and amendments, a total of 4 of them being in that committee next week.
Okay, so you're excited for first
I'm
meeting?
excited.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I've been preparing. I've had meetings with property and procurement to understand the processes of when leases and agreements are sent to the finance committee and then forwarded to rules. Just understanding that process where property and procurement met with some of the players, acting Commissioner Alejandra and her staff, who was gracious to meet with me this week to talk about the process. I've met with our attorney, Chief Legal Counsel, Attorney Amos Carty Jr., who has been gracious to help me through things from the 30th to now, things that have changed, helping me through that. Where I've met with the code revisor of the legislature, working with him, Ivor Stradiran, and his staff. Miss, I think her name is Mrs. Peets and Miss Boards. I can't forget their name.
Okay.
I'm just trying to work on a comprehensive update of the code. When you have meetings with Mr. Stradiran and his staff, and you find out from 1959, there needs to be amendments brought in the Rules and Judiciary to make sure things are brought up to time.
Definitely.
Last week, I've asked Attorney Stradiran to represent me in the first Rules and Judiciary meeting with the judicial branch, because like every 6 months you would have a meeting with the judicial branch. And one thing that they were excited to hear was that I'm going to be working on amendments as it pertains to comprehensive, amendments to the code.
Okay. I was going to ask you about your first 100 days, but I see you have your work cut out ahead of you.
Listen, I won't talk about all the other bills and that I've been bringing forward, but I've been focusing a lot on making sure that when I have my first committee meeting, it would be smooth. Sent out a letter, invitation letter to my colleagues who are my members in this committee, just giving them that guideline as far as our responsibility serving on the Rules and Judiciary Committee. I bring my standards high. My first meeting, I'll even talk about some housekeeping rules. So stuff like that is what I'm looking forward to, being the chairperson, serving in the 35th legislature.
Good. So what about long-term plans for the committee now?
Long-term plans, I'm just encouraging individuals who, work in this community and serve in this community, to when the governor asks for you to serve on a board or commission, to please step forward for your willingness to solve in this community. You know, there's been a stigma in the legislature. Nobody wants to serve on boards and commissions because of probably past treatment, but I think my colleagues that sit in this committee, I'm looking forward to serving with these individuals because they're all respected and I respect them. And so I think we'll have fun in this committee and making sure that I get all of these bills processed and from Rules and Judiciary to the full body for full consideration within reasonable time.
Right. So how does this committee role play a part with what you like? I know you are part of several subcommittees. I don't ask you to mention them, but I know so that's part of it as well. And then you ask you a regular senator. So how does that role differentiate between, you know, the committee of rules and then you actually being a senator?
Well, it would help me to have a better understanding if I'm in all these. I'm in like 5 committees.
Okay.
5 committees, and being in those committees, of course, you know, a lot of those bills will come through some of these committees, and then I'll have the opportunity to have a better understanding from even hearing testimonies, supporting resolutions. I've had the opportunity sitting in government operations the other day, and even signing on as co-sponsor for some of these resolutions. It gives me a better understanding that when these individuals or the bill come before me, that it would be an easy vote.
You get a better understanding of the bill. Right. Okay, Senator, I wanted to thank you for taking the time to sit with us. Is there anything else you want to leave with our viewers?
Well, just to look forward to an excited 35th legislature. I'm excited. I think that the 35th legislature has already started on the right foot. I'm looking forward to serving the people of the Virgin Islands, particularly the people of St. Croix. I look forward to working with my colleagues, those who are even in the non-majority. And I have Senator Franklin Johnson, who's a non-Democrat in my committee, and I look forward to serving with him. So, you know, it doesn't matter about party for me. When you are in a committee, it's all about, you know, improving the quality of life for the people of the Virgin Islands.
Right. Senator, I want to thank you so much for sitting with me. And for everyone watching, thank you so much. This has been Through the Chair, a Legit Special. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good. You're welcome.